Welcome, 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 nerds, nerdettes, and everything in between. Welcome to the very first annual Nerd Awards, presented by myself, StephenShred, and of course, the ManNerd himself. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Say hello to people.
Hi, I'm the ManNerd. Hello.
Yeah.
You know me. I'm your best friend. I hang out with you every week.
Yep. And this time, we're hitting you with the end of the year special. I am excited to do this. It'll be fun to go over the year in review. So we're going to do this like typical award show kind of thing. So we have our categories, we have our 5 picks, and then at the end, we will give you our number 1 pick for every category. I have my picks, the ManNerd has his picks. And we are designating that the number 1 spot gets the Nerdie.
And it's a statue of whatever makes you smile and happy. That's what it is.
Perfect. All right. To bring us in, we are going to start with the best live action shows of the year for 2023. Now, I was a little bit at a disadvantage here because I feel like I didn't watch a whole lot of live action, but I had enough to put together a list. So I'm going to give my 4 spots and save the last one for after.
Okay.
So my number 5 spot, which I just started watching, goes to Reacher, show on Amazon, Tom Clancy series. I really like it. It kind of feels like a little mystery. Like a little mystery version of like The Punisher, kind of. Next up is The Mandalorian, which I will say there was a lot of somewhat dull moments in The Mandalorian, but overall it felt very true to what it's supposed to be, and it gave some pretty cool backstory and furthered the plot on some stuff that I liked from Clone Wars and Rebels. After that, we got Gen V, another show I enjoyed. I really liked the idea of expanding and showing us what other kind of heroes are out there, not just the super famous world like known ones. And then my number 2 spot, of course, because I'm a Godzilla freak, it's gonna go to Monarch.
Of course.
Yeah, how could it not, dude? A show revolving around Godzilla and other titans.
Yep, you had to.
Go ahead and give us yours.
Okay. Starting at number 5. Truthfully, Reacher probably would have made the list, but I haven't watched it. So, one of those things. Ones that I've watched. Number 5 spot is Obliterated, a Netflix show about a special ops team that stops a nuclear explosion in Vegas. And nobody knows what they did. And it was this big operation that took them months. And then they're like, you know what? We deserve this. We're going to party. We're in Vegas. So they get obliterated. And guess what? That was a fake bomb. Now this show is about them trying to stop the real bomb, all fucked up. So it was great. I had a lot of fun. Number 4 spot, The Last of Us. I thought that was very cool. I never played the game, but I like post-apocalyptic stuff like that. So that was a lot of fun in the horror section. Number 3, same spot as you, Gen V, because The Boys in a spinoff, you can't go wrong. Super cool. Super cool. Number 2 spot goes to One Piece. One Piece live action.
I should have seen that coming.
I liked it, man. I liked it a lot. It was a lot of fun. And apparently it went really close to the anime. So I'm all in, man. It's super cool.
Yeah, which is interesting because they're actually going to be remaking the anime soon.
Yep, they are.
So I'm wondering if they're going off of the One Piece live action. Pacing went so well. Maybe they're just going to remake the anime to be condensed.
Yeah, they might, which would be cool to take away all that filler.
All right. And now my Nerdie for best show, aka, just a little disclaimer. This is not about the overall best story, overall best acting, anything like that. Our lists are basically summed up to the thing that we enjoyed the most. So, take these lists for what they are, Mine, number 1 enjoyment, because I did play the games. Number 1 goes to The Last of Us.
Hell yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I especially enjoyed the parts that they did change because it, especially the, I can't think of their names right now, the Frank and his husband's story. I cannot think of the husband's name right now, but their story specifically just really hit, you know, really good heartfelt moment in a story that is not originally so heartfelt. So overall, the Nerdie goes to The Last of Us, my half of the Nerdie at least.
Okay. The top half of the Nerdie will go to Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 1 and 2, because we finished Season 1 and got Season 2 in the same freaking year on an awesome show that brings you back to that old school Star Trek feel. So it went, Star Trek went away for a while, but it kind of veered off, went a little dark, and went a little cheesy, messing with the timelines too much. But this brought it all back. It feels so good. I love it. Number 1, Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't even know there was a Star Trek show going on right now.
Yep, there was actually 3 this year.
Wow.
Or no, 4. 5. There was 5 this year. Holy crap. Okay.
Those are some numbers. You could have had your entire list be Star Trek.
I could have. Well, I'm going to bring us into the next category, man.
Do it.
Best movie. Now, this can be any feature movie. It could be live action. It could be anime. Whatever you want. Whatever you think fits the bill. My number 5 spot is a Netflix movie called Nimona. Did you watch that?
Don't believe I did.
It's actually a lot of fun. It's about this knight of a realm, which it takes place in like modern day, but the protectors of the city are actual like old school knights, and they're trained with swords to fight monsters and all this. And there's this big conspiracy, this knight that's not supposed to be a knight that's coming up in the world and getting popular gets framed for something horrible, and then is kind of thrown out and a fugitive, and teams up with this changeling like shapeshifter monster girl named Nimona. Super funny, super cool, fantasy with a new age twist to it. I had a lot of fun.
Definitely sounds like something up your alley.
Hell yeah. And it was an anime, so there you go.
Even better.
Number 4 spot. That is going to go to one that I saw recently a few weeks ago called Leave the World Behind. Now that one was, it's probably one of the best thrillers that I've seen in a while. It makes you feel uneasy, makes you wonder what the hell's going on. So basically this movie is about this family that goes on vacation and they really need it. They're burning out. And then some weird stuff starts happening. Like the part that I saw that drew me in is they're at the beach, they're hanging out, and then they notice this oil tanker, and they see it in the distance, and they're like, man, that's a big ship. Nice, that's a cool ship. And then they're hanging out later and later and later. The thing keeps coming closer and closer, closer and closer, until finally they have to run because it slams into the beach. And that's just the beginning. Weird shit like that keeps happening, and they don't know what's going on. They're at a vacation rental. There's some shit happening. So it's pretty cool, and I liked where it went. Where it went was awesome, and it has some good actors in it. A lot of them. So I highly recommend that. Number 3 spot. I know this is in your list, man. Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Hey.
That shit was good. It was real good, man. But you know what? Number 2 spot, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
I had a feeling.
Yep. Had to go higher. You know me. We did a review on it.
Yep.
All right. What do you
Fair
got?
enough. All right. So for my number 5 spots, again, this is a thing where I feel like I didn't watch many movies this year, or at least I didn't watch many movies that I liked. But the number 5 spot goes to a movie that I did really enjoy. That is Suzume. It is a anime style movie that came out earlier this year, and a lot of fun. Follows a girl who stumbles upon a sort of magical task that this guy that she meets just randomly is fulfilling, and she kind of screws it up. So then it goes on this whole journey where they're trying to fix all the things that stem from her original mess up. So not trying to give too much away. We did do a video on it. So if you do want to check that out, that is in our feed.
It hasn't come out yet, but it will shortly.
It will be there.
It will be there.
My mistake. But a lot of fun, and it was something that I just like really enjoyed. I thought the characters were solid. I did think there was a little bit of a weird, unnecessary, like romantic side to it, but overall, really enjoyed it. Number 4 spot goes to John Wick 4. I've been a huge fan of the John Wick movies, so the 4th and seemingly final movie had to make the list. It would have been higher if it wasn't for the fact that I enjoyed the next few movies just a little bit more. So it's more of I praise these movies rather than I dislike John Wick a little bit more than these. Because John Wick 4, you know, we get the finale of John Wick being hunted by the organization that he used to work for. We get to see a few more characters get introduced. One of them I wish we got a little more background on, but overall just a wild ride again, but for different reasons. A whole lot more killing in this than in Suzume.
Yes.
So number 3 spot goes to Creed 3. I really enjoy the Creed movies. I'm not a huge boxing fan. I'm more of an MMA fan. But specifically with Creed 3, I felt like it was a really good dynamic between our protagonist and the antagonist. It made it even better that Michael B. Jordan directed this and took inspiration from some of his favorite anime fights. So there are scenes that are direct references to very famous anime fight scenes. One in particular is a fight from Dragon Ball Z. They even go as far to choreograph and use the exact same movements and everything in the fight. So if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, you'll know exactly what moment it is. But great movie. I always really like those. Just I like watching fighting. I feel like the Creed movies do a really good job of representing fighting in itself, the boxing, because I always take issue with the weird way that boxing, MMA, and everything is portrayed in movies. It always feels very unnatural when like one person's able to stand there and load up and then hit somebody. It's like that would never happen because you would see that punch coming a mile away. It always feels very, very dramatized and takes me out of it. But Creed, I feel, always does a really good job of making you feel like you're actually like watching something. You're watching actual competitors. So that takes my number 3 spot. Number 2, though. Number 2, like Mandrew said, it was probably going to be on my list. Goes to Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I loved it, and it made me love it even more that I loved it as a Marvel movie. I feel like Marvel has fallen so far from the absolute masterpiece that the whole lead up from phase 1 to 4 was. They actually knocked it out of the park with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It had its heartfelt moments. It had plenty of actual good comedy, which is hard to find in Marvel these days because I don't know who is writing the comedy for Marvel from Disney, but it's bad.
It's real bad.
It's really, really bad. But, Guardians of the Galaxy actually made me laugh. It showed me some heartfelt moments from characters that I do care about. And overall, it felt like a good send-off for these characters because a lot of the actors are saying that they're not returning to the series and they're not returning to Marvel for any of the other cameos here or there. So overall felt like the best send-off we could have gotten and the best version of us saying goodbye to, I guess, the old guard of the MCU. All right. So you started with this. So give us your Nerdie.
My Nerdie for best movie of the year goes to, I didn't think this would happen, but it did, Gran Turismo.
Oh.
Like, I'm not for like true story movies, but this one was so good, and every actor in it was so good, and it was based on real events about the game Gran Turismo, and they were trying to get kids that played the game to become real racers, to get racing up again. And guess what? They had a competition that got the top spots for Gran Turismo players to get into a boot camp for racing. And it's about that and the kid that actually won. And it turns out that the kid that won ended up being his own stunt driver in the movie, which is badass. And it was just heartfelt and fun and action-packed, and the graphics were so good. And they did overlays like Gran Turismo style, not too much, but every time they did it, it just looked so cool. And I loved it. It was 100% my favorite movie of the year.
And might be regretting the fact that I didn't watch it before we did this.
I told you, man. I told you.
I'll watch it soon for sure. All right. And the Nerdie for me, for number one movie of 2023. Technically, it came out in 2022, but it came out in the US, and I didn't get to see it until it came out in the US, obviously, in 2023. My number one...
I know what it
is Love is War, the first kiss that never ends.
There it is.
My Nerdie has to go to it. It is the finale to the greater storyline for Love is War, which is one of my favorite shows ever. It had comedic moments, it had heartfelt moments, and it had moments that were so introspective into so many people. The idea of, could this person love the true me? The me that isn't made to be for this person to see. Just such a deep question. And it's a question that I'm sure many of us have asked ourselves before. And it just hits. I recently rewatched it, and it still hits. So it had to be my number one. Nerdie goes to Love is War. Any year that Love is War has something, their Nerdie would probably go to it.
Of course.
All right. So the next two categories are going to be a little off the beaten path, but I feel that they are very appropriate for the genre, the style of entertainment that we will be covering. So we are going to be talking about the top 5 anime intros and anime outros. The opening songs and the ending songs, I feel, are so integral to anime as a culture and as a viewer. It is something that you get so entwined with the show. You know, like, you think Tokyo Ghoul, immediately you think of Unravel. You think of Attack on Titan, immediately you think of either the first song, which the name is escaping me, or you think of The Rumbling. They're so tied into each other. We felt that it would only be appropriate if we had our top 5 lists for those. So let's get into those. So we're going to be starting with the intros, obviously, because an intro goes first. So, Mandrew, why don't you give us those? Give us the goods.
All right. So, number 5 goes to Kengan Ashura Season 2. Because intro and outro on that season were just bangers, man. They were metal, they were hard, they were just fun, and it went with the show so well. So, hell yeah, that's like hella good. Okay, next one up. You know this one, Rurouni Kenshin, Season 1. But the first part, not the second part. Second part intro was not good. First part intro, so good. That shit was dope. Number 3, Hell's Paradise. Hell yeah, because it was awesome. That's all I gotta say. It was a banger through and through. Number 2, super fun, Psalm 100. That intro is just so much fun. You have a good time, and yeah, there's no going past it. Now this one, we're gonna wait for later, but Okay, let's go. Your turn. I almost did it, man. I almost went to number 1. I didn't, though.
It's just too good.
I know.
All right, our lists are very similar. So for my number 5, I'm going with Yusha, which is the intro to Freerun Beyond Journey's End. That one, every single time I hear it, I'm just like, just like puts me in a good mood. But then again, anytime I watch Freerun, I'm just in a good mood. So my number 4 is going to be, I believe it's either Hiten or Hiten, which is intro for part 1 of season 1 of Rurouni Kenshin.
Yep.
The song is just so good. It feels like exactly what it should, with Rurouni Kenshin being a remake of a very early anime, an early 2000s anime, or late 90s, early 2000s. It feels of that era, and it's just so good. So number 3, going with Paradox from Vinland Saga. So this was, I believe, part 2 of season 2's intro. It's just so good. I absolutely love it. It's basically a probably like a hard rock song, I guess I would call it. It has its metal moments, but overall it's pretty hard rock. Number 2, Song of the Dead from Zom 100.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mandrew said, it's just so good. It's just a fun, lighthearted jam, which for a good portion of the show is very appropriate, because the show in itself is very lighthearted. It's all about having fun, enjoying life, and just doing the things that you want to do because you want to do them, not because you're being forced to, or not because you feel you have to. And it just it's very appropriate for the show overall. All right, now we're gonna get into the nerdies, but there is a there's a little funky spin on this, because I'm pretty sure we're giving the Nerdie the same exact one.
We are. I know we are.
Yep. So both halves of the Nerdie go to specials. The song from Jujutsu Kaisen, the Shibuya arc. Man,
So good.
it's too good.
It's like the best part of the season.
It, for as dark and serious as the Shibuya arc has been, that song just goes so hard.
So many elements.
Yeah, the song is by King Nu, I think is how you're supposed to say it. Yeah, it is just an absolute banger. I listen to that song outside of the show. It's that good.
It is my ringtone. Yep.
Can't beat that.
Can't go wrong. Even if you haven't watched the show, check out that song, man. Check it out. And next one, man. Next category.
Anime outros.
Anime outros. All right. Go for it, man. Run it down.
All right. This one, I don't know how to pronounce it very well. We got, I think it's a Totome no Ichigeki, which is season 2 of Spy Family's outro. Absolutely love Spy Family. It is one of my favorite shows ever. And the outro to this, which features Cory Wong, which is pretty freaking cool. But it's just such a feel-good song. And then the animations that go along with it, just the wholesomeness and the good vibes of it. Just can't beat it. Now, number 4 is going to go to, I think it's Shoe Cream Funk, which is the outro to Mashal.
Hell yeah.
That one is just so much. Again, that's going to be a trend with these next 2. It's just so fun. It's just a goofy, kind of disco-y song, just about cream puffs, and they have a whole dance that goes with it. It's just fun. Number 3 is going to go to Happiness of the Dead from Zom 100. Again, super fun. I'm always saying it literally just sounds like No Doubt, the band, but just in Japanese. It's just a ton of fun. The song is really, really well done, and the animations that they have to go with it are just so good, because they have parts where like there's a part that says life or death, and they have different characters holding up the little signs. It's just a lot of fun. And then number 2, mine is Anything Anywhere, which is the outro to Free Ren. And it's not a fun, lighthearted one in the same sense. It's just a very heartfelt song.
Hits you in the feels.
Yeah, the overarching theme of Free Ren is just
letting your heart go, man.
Well,
opening up.
Just caring about others, and not taking things for granted. You know, things don't last forever, so cherish them, which is kind of the overarching theme of Free Ren. To appreciate the ones that you love, you know, have them with you always, even if they aren't there physically anymore. And the song just really encompasses that, and it just hits you in the feels every single time I hear it. So I had to put that as number 2, because intro and outro for Free Ren are here on the list, and every single time I watch Free Ren, nothing gets skipped. I let the intro play, I let the outro play.
So good. All right, I'm jumping in, man. I'm jumping in.
Do it.
This number 5 spot might be considered cheating.
Oh no.
Invincible, season 2, episode 4. The song after the extra scene. It just hits because it's Run the Jewels, The Ground Below. I had to fucking do it, man. I had to do it. That song's fucking dope. When I heard that, I was like, that's making the list. There's no way around it. If you call me a cheater, I don't care. That makes number 5. Number 4, just like the intro, King and Ashore, man. King and Ashore, season 2. Intro and outros hit so hard. So, highly recommend it. It goes with the fighting aspect of that, and it just pumps you up even after the episode's done. Gets you ready for the next one. Number 3, Vinland Saga, season 2. I think that outro really cements the whole season, like what you're feeling. It really goes with everything that's happening, and I love it. And you know what? Number 2 is exactly what your number 2 was.
Hey.
The outro to Free Ren, Beyond Journey's End, because that shit's heartfelt and it's so good.
It really is, dude. That's another one that I listen to off of or away from just watching the show. It's just so good.
All right, what's your number 1?
All right, the Nerdie goes to, I mean, could it go to anything else? Under the Tree.
Yep. Got it.
It's just such a good song. Sim just knocks it out of the park. The idea that, you know, we hear the rumbling, which the lyrics are Aaron's point of view, and then we get Under the Tree, which is Mikasa's point of view. It's just such a perfect like setup for getting to the end of the show. Like, it was just absolute perfection. The lyrics are heartfelt. It's catchy. There's parts that go super hard. It's just perfect. Now your turn.
Can you guess it?
Is it the same one?
Nope. It's not.
It's not.
It was on your list, though.
It was on. Oh, is it Shoe Cream Funk?
It is. A cream
Hell
puff
yeah.
song? Come on. I've listened to that song so many times. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, dude, like, once it gets to the part where it has like Lemon singing along, and then they all just like bust out super hard for the finale, and I'm just like, God, dude.
Oh, yeah.
It just goes so hard. I'm going to be rewatching that show this week for sure, because next Saturday, season 2's starting.
Hell yeah. Okay. All right. Now for the main event of the evening. Best anime of the year.
This was the hardest part to put together, but we persevered and we did it. We made our top 5.
Let's both do our 5, one at a time, our 4, our 3, our 2, and then our 1.
All right, take the lead.
Number 5 for me. It switched a lot on me, actually. But this spot goes to Dr. Stone Season 2. It was such a good show. Actually has a lot of science in it, lots of learning, but very fun, very sci-fi. It just is everything I'm looking for. Has lots of character development, and it keeps you guessing what the hell is happening and where they're going. And it's just a fun ride. Don't want to spoil anything, but it's a good time.
I could definitely dig that, especially since that comes off of a Convince Me episode, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. One that hasn't come out yet, but it will. The latest one.
All right. My number 5 spot switched around quite a lot, and I almost swapped 4 and 5, but because of the delays, this fell to 5, which top 5 is still good. Still really good. I love this show. It is Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead. Absolutely love this show. Just the idea of somebody suffering the daily grind, being taken advantage of, and now they have freedom to do whatever they want to do. And instead of, just sulking in the idea of a zombie apocalypse, panicking, just gonna do what I've always wanted to do. Cross everything off my bucket list before I turn into a zombie. Such a good show. So much fun. But the I think the entire accumulation of waiting is probably somewhere to like 4.5 months. So that's the only thing that took it down to 5. But Zom 100, absolutely loved it.
Damn. All right, moving on to number 4 spot. For me, it is Summertime Rendering. It was released in 2022 in Japan, but released in January 2023 in the US.
I actually did not know that.
Yep, it totally works. It is a story about, a kid that's stuck in a time loop, basically. And I love time loop themes in movies and shows. And this is a very unique perspective on it. And it never gets dull because it changes every time. And then you get higher and higher stakes as you go. It is a very fantastic show. And that's why it made it to my top 4. Well, my top 5, my number 4 of top 5.
Yeah, that is I did not even know that came out this year. I thought I just discovered it this year.
I had to do research because I was like, this has to be. It has to be.
All right, well, my number 4 spot goes to something that's already made an appearance. Mashal, Magic and Muscles. Great show. If you haven't seen it, it is literally One Punch Man meets Harry Potter. That's it. If that doesn't sell you, nothing will. Just think if Saitama was born in a world of wizards and you got Mashal. It is a ton of fun, and like I said, season 2 starts next Saturday, so I'm gonna be rewatching the hell out of it this weekend.
Heck yeah. All right, moving into number 3 spot, Vinland Saga season 2. Now, this one, first season, very good, kind of rough, very action-packed, dark. This season, dark in its own way, but so uplifting and character-driven and story-driven that it just made it to my top list of all-time favorites so far. It is so good. I love it. I can't wait for this series to continue.
I'm sure they will be continuing pretty soon, too. They're already posting teasers and stuff.
Heck yeah.
Give me a second, I dropped my phone. Okay.
In the middle of an award show.
Yeah, dude. Stuff happens, Better than a wardrobe malfunction, I suppose. My number 3 spot goes to The Eminence in Shadow, Season 2. This show, I just love the hell out of this show. It's so goofy. It's so over the top. It rides the line of edginess so close, but it's just such a ridiculous show that it works. Everything that they do is just the most ridiculous dramatic thing you could possibly think of in an anime. And then they play it off like, it was just, it's no big deal. It's whatever. You have all these giant moving pieces, all these political things, and we have our main characters is just like, oh, all right, well, that works out, I guess. Cool. just so nonchalant about all these like ridiculous things happening. It's literally just what happens when your main character just plays everything off and wants to play a role so bad that he just doesn't take anything serious.
Doesn't have to.
It's just so much fun. And plus you get Delta. What more do you need?
Get Delta. Nothing. All right, number two spot. Something you already had in your list? Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead. Surprisingly uplifting for a zombie show. It is very good, very funny. There were the delays, and honestly, I forgot how good it was until they put the rest of the season on Christmas Day, and then it brought it up to my number 2 spot.
Yeah. Plus, we watched English dub and got to hear Beatrix's German accent.
Perfect.
Perfection.
Perfect. Yep.
My number 2 spot is a little contestable, but you know what? According to my rules, it works. My number 2 spot goes to Attack on Titan Special 1 and 2.
It works.
Technically, they're part of the finale season. It's just there's only 2 of them. But a show that I've followed for so long with characters that I care about and a story that needed to end a certain way. It was a heartbreaking ending. It was a heavy ending, but it was the ending that we needed. And we got to see so much more of the aftermath of the events of the finale than I thought we would get to see. And it just really felt like the best way to end it all. Because we have plenty of shows that they give you the ending, but there's still some lingering questions. There's still some things that could have been wrapped up better. With this show, I feel like everything was there. The characters acted the way the characters would have acted. And the things that needed to be done to make sure that the ending was the ending, not just for us as viewers, but for the story as a whole. It was just perfect. But the heaviness of it put it back to number 2.
Yep.
Number 1 goes to something else.
Number 1 is the same for both of us. I know it is.
It is. The Nerdie for number 1 anime of 2023 goes to Frieren Beyond Journey's End. Just perfection in a show.
So good. Everything.
They are on episode 16, and there has not been a single moment of the show that I did not enjoy. Not one single moment has been bad. Every single episode is enjoyable. Every character has their own quirk that's enjoyable to them. Everything is heartfelt. Everything matters. Just, you get action. You get character growth. You get to see this world develop around our characters. You get to see the impact of the things that our character has done. Just, the only word for it is perfection.
And it's basically a D&D show. So I'm in.
Yeah, which I didn't even think of until you started talking about it. And yeah, apparently that is like a huge part of the fan base.
Hell yeah, it is.
Yeah, D&D apparently goes hand in hand with the show, but I did not know.
You can get so involved in your role play and these stories and characters that it feels just like a game that you play with your friends. To me, it's so good.
Yeah, overall the show just, it's feel good. And even when it's not, even when it has its heavier moments or its more action-y moments, it still takes you back. You're laughing, you're crying, you're getting angry, all the emotions, but they always bring it back to remember why we love these characters and why we love this show. So Frieren takes the cake, and we do the second half of season 1 starting early next year. At the time of recording, it's literally next week. And I don't think they've confirmed, but it definitely feels like we were only getting one season of this show. It feels like we are going to be reaching the conclusion by the end of the next 12 episodes. And it's sad, but at the same time, I love that it could wrap up a story. And I'm hoping that the second part is just as good as the first part, which I'm sure it will be. And that'll probably be on the list for 2024.
Yep.
I will say I had honorable mentions for the anime specifically, being Spy Family Season 2, Hell's Paradise, and Demon Slayer Season 3. The only reason why those 3 didn't make the cut is because the 5 things that I picked were just enjoyable all the way around. Spy Family, Hell's Paradise, and Demon Slayer all had moments, or not even moments, episodes where I kind of tuned out. Spy Family Season 2 had an amazing arc on the cruise ship, but we had a bunch of episodes where I was just like, okay,
they're just one-offs.
Lloyd's taking out the dog. Cool, I guess. Hell's Paradise, amazing beginning, amazing ending. Some of the stuff in the middle, I was just kind of like, this is cool, I guess. And Demon Slayer Season 3, the very first episode, the second episode, cool, setting everything up. A little goofy here and there. Okay, cool. Mitsuri's here. All right, we're liking that. And then it starts kicking into gear, and you're like, okay, now we're in for it. So, only reason why they didn't make the top 5 is the moments they had were amazing, but the show as a whole didn't have me glued into every episode. Those were my honorable mentions.
All right. Well, until next time on Video Nerds, and until next year on the best of, we will catch you later.
See you.